This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, June 23rd. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Powell, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome back to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about home automation, home technology, all the fun stuff that can go into a house and make it fun to live in. We have been on hiatus for a little bit. I've been in Infocomm 2023 with my company, and it was just really busy. I finally got I guess not last week's show, but the week before that show edited. And but guess what, Gavin? I saw somebody at Infocomm. TJ. I saw TJ there.
I was there.
So he is real.
He was there, and then he was really tired. He's like, I think we're gonna, go over here and make one more pass at this, and then, maybe come back. He never came back. He left. I'm pretty sure he was done with the show at noon or 1 o'clock. I don't really even know.
No, we stayed until like 4 o'clock. Jeez, don't tell me so short.
You know what they say.
Granted, I didn't go in until 11. So
hey, Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah, we did forget to take pictures. I guess we should have done that.
We did. Yeah. Seth was busy fixing his internet issues. He had a lot of internet issues and stuff working issues. So.
Yeah. So we were like, we can do the show without needing internet, and then as it turns out, I did need the internet. We went and paid for this internet, which was ridiculously expensive. I don't know what you would get for on a normal day if you weren't captive to needing to pay somebody for internet. But if you were getting 3 megabit up, 3 megabit down internet for just 3 days, how much would you expect to pay? That
should be free. It should be standard at that speed. 3 megabit up and 3 megabit down.
No, this is America. Nothing's free.
Now this is America. There's a monopoly. There's only one vendor, and you're forced to pay them for anything that you need. How much do you think it would be in America? American dollars. I'll give you an American dollar. What is it called? Handicap. You don't even have to convert it.
I'm going to say they're going to charge you $140 a day.
If only.
That would be a deal.
$5,200, my friend.
And that's 3 megabit up and 3 megabit down?
3 down, 3 up. Yeah. That was my eye-opening realization that I am going to get just not treated very well at every one of these shows if we don't plan ahead. So I was able to get it reduced down the next day after I went back and talked to them and complained to the manager, as anyone would be want to do. You got that invoice into your email.
Would you get it knocked down $300 or something?
No, I got $3,000 taken off. There was evidently another package that they did not inform the person who went to pay. So yeah, it was still $1,600 to pay for internet for 3 days at the show, and
it didn't work that well.
Yeah, but we got our booth going, and we had a good show. Honestly, after that, I was able to do some fun stuff, I have a Firewall purple in the rack, just kind of running random stuff in the rack. It was just there to be the router in the rack of stuff. I really didn't need it, but it was there. And I was able to use it to VPN back to the house and connect my some equipment that I left at the house that didn't have enough room to bring. I could connect directly to it. It was sitting there at the table with me, and it was not difficult to do. It's 2 clicks. It's a great little system. I can't recommend these little routers enough. They are a little pricey, but for what they do and how well they do it, it's a pretty good piece. Anyway, that's enough about Infocomm 2023. Next up is the big CEDIA show in September, and I was informed while I was there that it's less than 90 days away, which I am not happy about because I still have not.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you guys haven't planned anything as far as I know. I've been trying to get everybody to plan stuff for the past 3 or 4 months because I knew this would happen. I knew we'd get to 90 days out, 60 days out, and everybody'd be like, well, I don't even know where I'm staying. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know where we're going. Come on.
Well, I know where I'm staying. I know how much my flight's going to cost me. I
know where I'm going.
I got everything. I got everything planned out. The wife's even planning day trips and stuff, but we haven't booked anything, so maybe this weekend I'll actually buy the tickets and reserve the group rate in the hotel that you gave us.
It's probably not a bad idea to do that. So
it's probably a good time. Yeah. Cause one of the fun things that happened to us is that we booked for this Infocomm show late, and I think they did release the numbers there was something like 29,000 people there. So it was a pretty big size show. CD isn't going to be anywhere near that big. Maybe, I think they top around 20,000, where they used to top out at around 20,000. So CD will be a much smaller show. But we booked our hotels a while back, didn't get the greatest hotels because there wasn't many left at the time. Like, I couldn't stay at the Hyatt right across the street, right? I had to go like down the street to something by SeaWorld down I Drive. I'm like, all right.
In the alleyway somewhere,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a fine hotel. It was actually better. But then one other person decided to join us, and we were like, oh man, I want to get all the hotels. I want to get everybody at the same hotel, right? Well, I booked at this Marriott, which don't book at Marriott because evidently it doesn't matter if you book at Marriott. They just won't have your reservations when you show up at 5:00, looking like you're dead from setting up a booth all day. And and then they tell you, I'm sorry, we rebooked you at a Marriott that's 45 minutes away.
Wow.
And yeah, that wasn't going to happen. So yeah, book your hotel now, Gavin. Book your hotel now, and make sure you money exchanges hands, because evidently it doesn't matter if you tell them that you're going to show up on a particular day. They will just book, or they'll overbook their hotel, and then they will just be like, oh yeah, we gave your room to somebody else who was here earlier than you.
It sounds super fun. I'm jealous,
We had a great time. We actually ended up, so like it's right there in Orlando, right? And I do a lot of I stay there quite a bit for Universal. And so I was like, well, the resorts are right around the corner. Let's just call and see if they have any. And guess what? They had 3 rooms at one of the resorts. And so we were there with like a lazy river, giant hot tub, and like all this stuff in one of the Universal resorts. And yeah, there was a bunch of kids and families running around, but you know what? The bars were still good. and it was not, the bars were not packed inside there because it's all kids and families running around, and the drinks were still as good as they would have been, everywhere else. So we had a great time, and better than staying 45 minutes away and driving in on a commute through Orlando traffic every morning.
Oh my God, that's so awful down there. I do not. Every time I go down, I'm like, this is just progressively getting worse. I don't want to be here just because it takes forever to go anywhere.
Well, I'm excited about Denver. Evidently, we have a place right across the street from the show, so it'll be easier on the commute, walking across the street or wherever it's supposed to be. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. As you guys will both be there, we'll have to plan some mayhem. I guess we're going to actually have to do that and just not say that we are, and figure out what day we can have a big party and whatnot. So we'll see. I know that a lot of the bigger vendors aren't doing parties this year, so maybe we'll do some talking and see if we can pump up be part of it, like maybe even just be like half a sponsor of a show or something like that. So we'll see what we can do. All right. Well, there are since we kind of like took off a little while, there's been a number of HomeTech headlines that have come through. So what do you say we jump in and talk about these?
Let's do it.
All right. In a pretty big development, Eve Systems. It's a home automation sensor company, I guess. They're commonly used with Apple products. They have a big HomeKit business. They've announced acquisition by multi-billion-dollar automation giant ABB. I've never really heard of them, but I guess ABB is a multinational company with fingers in many pies. It's relevant here. It's basically has a building and home automation solutions division. It mostly works on high-end products for commercial property like offices and hotels. Eve has a range of innovative products like smart plugs, sensors, lighting control solutions. I've always liked Eve products. They've all looked real clean and everything. They do have that commercial feel and look, like I like a more modern look that would fit well into offices. So, maybe this might not be a bad acquisition from ABB to like get to where they could be able to expand some of their smart home offerings into offices or MDU units, like hotels or condos, that kind of thing.
I've never used any of the Eve devices myself, but I know that they're one of the most recommended when it comes to like DIY home automation at this point, especially if you're using HomeKit at all. Right.
I actually have one of their sensors that I think I've talked about in the past. We used to keep an eye on if she's gotten up, and I just looked at it over here, and I've been getting notifications saying that yes, in fact, she did get up out of bed and open the door 8 minutes ago, and then 9 minutes ago it was closed. So
your poor kid.
She was hurried back into her room. So get back to bed, child. Go to sleep.
Does that come over your Sonos speakers? You're just yelling at your child.
Yeah, we should just automate it. Get back in there. What are you doing out of bed?
And you give me crap about monitoring my neighbor's water usage. Look at you.
Well, I mean, you got to keep them in the room. I mean, I didn't put a door lock on her or anything. I haven't done that.
She's not a teenager yet.
Not yet. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd start being worried if you did that. So,
so this Eve acquisition, is it gonna? I wonder how it's gonna affect, the regular users, the fans they have today of the Eve products. Like, are they gonna still invest in it? Are we still gonna get updates, Matter updates? Are there gonna be new products, or are they just gonna move it all to commercial? I'm not sure what direction they're going in, and we'll see.
Yeah, they've been making some advances like into. I mean, Eve used to be like a HomeKit only product, right? It used to be only like Apple, right? And since Matter started to come out, they've been making announcements. They have an Android app. It doesn't do everything, but like it does. They do have an Android app, so they are pushing out into those other markets. So it'll be interesting to see what this does for them. I mean, sometimes this brings in a lot of money. Sometimes people get fired, from these acquisitions later. Like it's like the duplicate jobs. Like you're not going to have two accounting departments for one company when you can just combine everybody into one. So sometimes this is good for a company. Sometimes it's not such a great thing. So hopefully it's a good home for Eve and they can continue to expand on their product in the home automation space, but also build out into other markets like for the commercial things. All right. Well, here's a major sympathy story here. Comcast has lodged a complaint with the FCC, citing the difficulty of listing all of its monthly fees, guys. I mean, this is really sad.
Boo-hoo.
I can hear the tears coming out from everybody. Oh, no, not Comcast. Well, Comcast claims that the requirement to disclose all the fees in the customer's bills is so challenging due to the complex nature of its pricing structure. It just can't do it. And they're arguing that complying with the regulation would lead to increased costs and confusions for customers. And then I have a note here. Comcast customers, on the other hand, suggest maybe having less confusing fees and bills in the first place. Maybe that's a pretty good place to start. I used to be a Comcast customer, and man, were their bills confusing. They did attempt to make it not confusing, but even that was confusing. And there were months where I was like, why do I have these extra charges? No idea. Could barely even figure it out. My wife was like, why is our bill going up? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. Just list your fees. Be that easy.
Yeah, and I don't get the extra add-on fees that they put on everything. Just like increase the total price of the whole product and just make that the price.
Yeah.
Why do we have to like agree upon a price and then have like 20 and sometimes the fees are expensive. I mean, you're talking $20, $30 in additional fees sometimes for like the most trivial things. And it's like, sure, some of those are probably legit and some of those are probably not legit. But just put it in the price.
Yep. And the little broadband fax thing that the FCC's proposed, I guess they were required by law to implement this in 2001. Like this thing looks like the nutritional value sheet. I guess it's on the back of like every American food product these days. It has like the calories and all that stuff. And it just breaks down like all the fees and everything, like what's going to be included in this bill for this particular monthly price. And you're right, DJ, like I think it was like $65 a month Comcast thing. And then by the time they added all their fees on it and equipment charges and everything, it was like over $100. And it's like, this is ridiculous. Like, can't they just be upfront and instead of advertising $60 or whatever cheap internet, like, can't they just say that it's going to cost you $100? It doesn't make any sense. So they're complaining about that. They say that's too complicated and too hard to do. Yet for some reason they could figure that out every single month and send it to me. Gavin, do you guys have anything like this in Canada where they say that the price is going to be like $5 and then you turn around and it's like after all the fees and everything, it's $100?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Everybody's got that. Like, don't feel like you guys are alone with that. But I have to admit, my Rogers bill, it took them a while, but they've made it easier to understand. So they almost like summarize everything. Like my cell phone bill, they say your basic service is this. And then this much was on text messages and this much was on long distance, et cetera, et cetera. And then if you want more detail, you can then break it down to see, where it was spent. So it actually got easier to read. I don't think it's that difficult. They're probably just making it seem like it's difficult. And it's probably because they want to make it complicated. They don't want people to really understand what they're paying for, or else you know where this is going, right? So they're going to fight this. But I think a bill, when you look at your bill, you should be able to understand clearly what it is you're paying for and where your money's going. And if you can't, I think something should be done about it then.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is a little like a step further. This is like at the point of sale, they're saying you should be able to tell us how much this thing is going to cost. Like how much after you ring it up at my address, including all the taxes and equipment fees and everything, how much will my bill be? And Comcast really doesn't tell you that. They really won't until you actually like get down to the very last part. Like I accept this thing, let's run with it. They kind of guess at it. They're like, oh, they're probably about $15-20 extra taxes and that kind of thing. Because that's how much, the estimation here says, but we won't, they don't know until they invoice you. It's always a weird number.
Yeah. Some of the worst bills are like my gas bill, my electrical bill, because they have the water bill. They have these weird fees like, delivery fee. And I can't remember what the water one is, but the water disposal fee or something like that. And those fees, like, it's funny that you laugh, but those fees are like more than what you paid for the water. Right. And it's so bad that they actually send you like instructions on how to read your bill, but the instructions are like, no one's going to read those 5 pages of instructions to read your bill. Like they need to simplify this a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes the instructions will make it even more complicated. So you definitely don't have any way to figure it out.
Well, hopefully, I guess Comcast is asking the FCC for all these loopholes for, their marketing team to infect the forums with better ways of advertising cheap prices to people when this is the company right now. If you go and look for their internet, they're selling 5G internet 10G internet. And it's like, oh, wow, I can get 10 gig internet. No, it's not 10 gig internet. That's just the brand name of their regular internet. Their 10G internet can start at, I don't know, 200 megabyte if you want. It's just, that's what they name their internet.
Wow.
Yeah. Such a deceptive company. They just, I don't feel bad for them at all.
What they need to do is just implement a broadband fax fee and just, put it as part of the bill. So there you go. I don't know how much that costs per customer, $1.20 or something.
Exactly. Just spread out the extra cost of figuring out the bills and in making these FCC labels. And just spread it out. 25 cents per customer. There you go. Anyway, hopefully they figure it out and don't get away with watering this thing down and or making it what it's not supposed to be, which is supposed to be helpful for consumers. Anyway,
Burn.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's something fun about watering things. A new product here from Rachio. The Rachio Sprinkler Controller Company introduced a new feature on their app called Valve Monitoring. With valve monitoring, homeowners can easily check the status of each valve and ensure that efficient water usage is happening and identifying, hopefully before they happen, any potential issues. The app provides real-time data on valve activity, which is basically open and close, right? And allowing users to track water flow and detect leaks and malfunctions promptly. Innovative feature from Rachio aims to enhance water management and simplify irrigation systems maintenance. Now, here's the catch, though. The valve monitoring is a new premium feature and is available to all Rachio 3 smart sprinkler controller users for a one-time price of $29.99. Interesting. Well, all right. So the price thing is the one thing. Let's talk about that first. Gavin, you're a Rachio guy. What do you think about this feature? What do you think about this?
I can see what they're doing with the feature because I think it monitors the voltage across the line and it can monitor, over time if the voltage or something drops when it's active. They could detect it, but for that price, I don't think that's a feature that I'm really interested in. Like I usually go out and test my system anyway. I turn it on, I turn it off. If sprinkler heads don't pop up, there's something wrong. That's what it tells me. If they all don't pop up, the valve's not working. If one doesn't pop up, then I know that one's broken out somewhere along the line. Like I don't think for $30, I'm more upset that I think going forward, this is gonna be how it is. If they come out with a new feature, you're gonna have to buy it. It's like if you buy a new car and you gotta pay for your heated seats that are already in your car.
Yeah.
Like, are they gonna start doing that for every new feature? You can have this feature for $5, and when you start to add up, their bill is gonna get worse than Comcast bill. It's gonna be harder to read with all the subscriptions you got on it. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not interested in this feature. I like that they're still coming with features though. But I'm also looking at my Rachio system now saying am I never going to get any new features because every new feature is going to be put behind, I'm going to have to pay for? Is that like how it's going to be going forward? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's kind of, I thought it would already be a existing service that was included in it, right? I mean, it seems like a pretty basic functionality to me. So it was kind of confusing when I saw this come across. And I'm torn because $30, I mean, I understand where Gavin's coming from. The $30, at least it's a one-time fee and you're not having to subscribe to, Rachio Premium or something like that in order to get this service. So like, but it's just weird. Does anybody know if there's any other sprinkler systems out here that just like have this built in by default?
I haven't heard of one that uses possibly what they're talking about. Like Gavin said, it's basically checking to see what the amperage, I guess, or the voltage is across the coil, the solenoid coil. And if it's not what it normally should be or not what it is, it kind of throws an error and says you may have a problem. It's not going to detect if the pipe is busted. Like that's going to be a different type of sensor. This is just going to say and kind of notice that this valve isn't operating like the other ones are, or maybe stuck open or closed or something like that. They may be able to detect that too, based on the electrical impulse, electrical signal that's going over it. But I don't think that it's not going to catch everything that could happen in a sprinkler system. If somebody's mowing and mows over a sprinkler head and knocks it loose and it's spraying water up in the air every single time it turns on, this isn't going to know that. It's just going to know that the solenoid is having a problem. And those are like $15 parts, right? So like replace 2 of them and that's the cost of this feature that they have. I don't know. I just don't. I haven't seen anybody else do this kind of thing, I guess, is the final answer on that.
And they did have a water monitoring device at one point.
The Rachio Flow.
Yes, I actually had one and I put it in and I actually took it out because it was more trouble than it was worth. And it didn't really give me any information, but it would tell you if you had a leak or something like that, right? But I just pulled that out and it was useless to me. I don't know. I really like their controller. Their software is great. It's almost a set it and forget it type of thing. It just works. And the notifications, are great, but I don't know where they're going with this. And I don't like where they're going with this.
I will say it's interesting that this feature was built in to the controller that you bought and you didn't even know it was in it. Like they obviously didn't advertise it. Like they didn't say that they didn't promise that this would ever do that. But it's not like whatever they have reading that voltage was like, they must have designed that in, right? They must have known that one day they'd either be able to write the software to read the data or collect enough of the data to understand what it means when a solenoid's going bad, like over time. And paying you paid a few $100 for the Rachio a few years back, right? But this is a new feature that they've turned on or they've done a lot of R&D on to figure out how to implement correctly. Maybe it's not bad that it's, extra $30 one-time fee, it's a one-time fee just to activate that feature. I guess I'm saying, like, you didn't even know this existed. There could be another thing in there that I don't know, that they have another sensor or something they put in there, and you don't know it's in there, but they figured out how to turn it on and collect data and do something with it. Like I don't know. I think it's all right if they charge you an extra $30 for the people that would find that valuable and want to use that.
And I think it's a valuable feature in the markets, like in the pro market, right? Like you'd love to have this feature because you could see your clients, you could tell your clients, hey, I'm sensing that you have a faulty valve here. We'll send somebody out to fix it tomorrow, right? And that will be valuable.
Yeah, I could see them just including that in the price of the thing, outright. Like, it's a $29 thing, but no, we'll just add $30 onto this and we'll know if they're having a problem with it. Yeah, good point. All right. Well, I've got these new products in order of price, and that was probably the lowest one at $30. But the next one's not too much more. Wiz, which is a division of basically Signify, which is basically the parent company of Philips Hue, has introduced some new smart lights that offer Philips Hue style experience, but without the big price tag. Users control the lights with the Wiz app, adjust the brightness, choose a wide range of colors, create ambience. The lights also support control with voice assistants like Alexa, Google Assistant, and they work with Siri as well through HomeKit. There are 4 new lights arriving within the next few weeks. It's called the Full Color Filament Spiral, the Neon Flex Strip, the Super Slim Color Luminaire, and the Panel Ceiling. All these products should, so the Signify is a European company, so all of these should start to ship in late June for customers in the UK and Ireland, and I suspect that it'll make its way over here to the US. Pretty cool. So Wiz is a Wi-Fi. All their products are Wi-Fi. They don't do anything but Wi-Fi. And these start. It looks like there's some that are 99 pounds. Let's see, or 99 euros. Here's one that's 30 euro. The ceiling one, the panel ceiling one, I think if you got a big one, it was the most. Yeah, 130 euro. That's really, as far as Wiz goes, it's probably the most expensive thing I've ever seen them make. They have quite a few like inexpensive bulbs and lamps and that kind of thing that you can buy. Most of it is in the $30 to $100 range, if I remember correctly. So a lot of new products. We'll put some links in the show notes where you can go check them out. I think that this is an interesting little company. Aside from the Wi-Fi control, which I'm not a fan of, but I have been using their products. They actually work really well. They do a great job, and they also have that Wi-Fi feature where they can do presence detection based on the interference from the Wi-Fi signal, and you can trigger automation based off that presence detection without any additional sensors. Kind of cool. So that should also be in here as well.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. I like the little Flex LED strip because they have that nice little photo of the music note on the wall. So it's kind of a callback to the old neon signs you see everywhere. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of cool. I'm not a huge user of colored lighting. I just have a bunch of boring lighting in my house. But it's always good to see additions like this, and I've always heard good things about Wiz. So
yeah, Wiz it gets a lot of talk out there, and you know, I think people that have Wiz products seem to be happy, right? And that's important. If you have a good product, you know, it will sell. I don't use Wiz. I'm like TJ. I don't really have I don't have colored light bulbs in general. All my lights are smart switches. I don't go with the smart light bulbs. But if you're gonna start throwing a lot of these Wi-Fi devices on, just make sure you have a good Wi-Fi network. That's what I tell people: is make sure you have something that can handle so many devices.
Yeah. And but Wiz actually has a local API. I know this because I've been working with it. And then they also have a cloud API. So whichever one you want to use, you can use it. Like, and I guess that would work. Like if you wanted to keep them segmented on their own Wi-Fi network, you would probably use the cloud API to interact with them if you needed to. And if you wanted to have them on the local network and send all your commands that way, they've got an API for that too. So kind of a cool product. I've been impressed with what I've seen out of them. Let's just put it that way. They've got some pretty cool stuff, and it works way better than I thought it was going to. But again, it comes from Signify. They're they're the parent company of Philips Hue. They know what they're doing.
And how's their API? Because I know products have local APIs, and they're just like, it's garbage, right? How is theirs?
It's okay. It's like a UDP API, so it's like broadcast, but you kind of have to like pull for things here and there. It does do updates through that as well. It's not terrible. There are things that I wish that could do better, and maybe since I kind of have a direct line to the product manager, maybe I'll say, hey, can you do this? We'll see if they can get it done. But there are things that it's missing. Like I haven't found the names of the devices. So when we get them in through the API, it's just like the MAC addresses. I've got to go digging a little bit deeper to see if there's another way I can get it, or I just missed it somewhere in the documentation. But yeah, it's kind of weird to like just get MAC addresses back and not have whatever you named it in the app. So other than that, it seems to work really well. I have no complaints so far. Well, let's move on here. The last one, the most expensive one here. And I know we've talked about this before, but I guess they have a new range of them. So CC has introduced the N1 folding outdoor television. It's a new innovative television. It has they have it two sizes, 165 inch or 137 inch display. It's 4K micro LED technology. Has plenty of brightness for even direct sunlight. When not in use, the TV gets folded up and stored underground in this weird column thing that it motorizes down into. It's got an adaptive daylight function built into it. So if it gets too bright outside, it'll ramp up its lighting, the LEDs on it. Now here's the catch, Gavin. The C-Seed folding outdoor television is now available for purchase at a price starting at $233,000, targeting a luxury homeowners and outdoor entertainment enthusiasts who are also extremely wealthy. So, are you going to go pick up one of these, put it out by the pool?
I did the conversion. That's about 300,000 Canadian. That's just a little bit out of my range, so I'm gonna have to pass. If it was like 150,000, maybe, but 300,000, like I might just look at the Ferrari I always wanted.
I mean, it's too bad, Gavin, because if you got this one, you could also get the one that's made for yachts. So, I mean, you could have one at your house or on your yacht, and you're always ready to go.
Oh, I gave my yacht away because it was just too much work. So,
Yeah,
a lot of maintenance.
There's a lot of maintenance. So,
yeah. I mean, get this. It also has 2 built-in 100-watt coaxial speakers and integrated subwoofer built into the column. And then there's twin coaxial speakers that get brought out on each wing. So the speakers are built into this thing. So you can basically hook it up to run.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, for that price, why not? I mean, it could be an add-on. Could be like, well, you want the speakers to work? That's another $200,000. It's a one-time price, though.
You need the special dongle.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was really cool to see the videos of this. I saw a few videos where it was installed on a rotating stand. And I thought that was really cool. But I think you mentioned it before the show. The installation cost is going to be like ridiculous for these things. The wiring, the digging into the ground, you probably have to bring in a crane just to bring it in at some point too. Who knows, right?
Just a couple $100,000 for installation, I'm sure.
Yeah, like if you pay $233,000, I would venture to guess that it's well over $150,000 to install this thing. Just thinking about all the permits and you're digging a hole in the ground, right? Like you're going to have to account for drainage, right? Like water goes down last I checked. And if you dig a hole, it's either going to be a swimming pool with a TV, a very expensive TV in it at some point. Like that's how it would be here in Florida. Or you're going to figure out some way to drain all that water out of there and move it along. I assume that they know what they're doing because they made a TV that goes into a hole. And they have that figured out, but just because they have it figured out doesn't mean it's done at your house when you dig a hole. Like you're going to have to figure that out as well. So, oh boy. Yeah. And it takes 60 seconds to pop up and then another 25, 30 seconds to deploy the panels. And then Gavin, if you wanted to rotate it around, I imagine it's not very fast doing that either. So, no. Yeah, you're looking at a minute and a half just to get that thing up and going and watching TV, which
that's ridiculous.
That's a long time.
Perfect case for automation. Before you go into the backyard, you could tell, the Amazon lady to turn on the TV. So by the time you make it back there, after you cook dinner and eat dinner and you can finally get back there, it's on and booted up.
There you go.
Well, I'll add this to the shopping list. Hopefully it goes to Black Friday sale this year.
Yeah. It'll be marked down to $200,000. It's $33,000 off. Yay.
Instant buy then.
Exactly. All right. Now, here's a discussion thing that I ran across. And I think this story kind of made the rounds. It wasn't as bad as it turned out to be, but it's a pretty eye-opening personal account about this guy who is basically locked out of interacting with his smart home for a week, not because his internet's down or Alexa died or anything like that. No, I guess there was a complaint from a delivery driver, an Amazon delivery driver, and this guy named Brandon Jackson, his Amazon account basically was suspended. So here's a quote from the article. On Wednesday, May 31st, 2023, I finally regained access to my Amazon account after an unexpected and unwarranted lockout that lasted nearly a week. This wasn't just a simple inconvenience, though. I have a smart home, and my primary means of interfacing with all the devices and automations is through the Amazon Echo devices via Alexa. This incident left me with a house full of unresponsive devices, a silent Alexa, and a lot of questions. So basically, he woke up one day, noticed his Amazon Echo had been signed out and didn't work. So he's like, my Amazon account login doesn't work either. Naturally assumed that he had an account compromised, but he uses 2-factor and decent passwords, he says, so probably not likely. Called Amazon, did some research with them. They said, you need to check your email and there's a number to call in there. He found that. Turns out there was an Amazon delivery driver who thought they heard something from his doorbell that they considered to be racist, and they complained. Like this guy said something racist out of his doorbell. He has a video of it, and it appears like he said he reviewed his videos, and it appears to be just a misunderstanding. He said he reviewed the footage and confirmed that no such comments had been made. Instead, the Eufy doorbell had issued the automated response, "Excuse me, can I help you?" And the driver, who was walking away wearing headphones after just probably tossing the package at the front door, misinterpreted the message. Despite submitting video evidence, his account remained locked for almost a week. And here's another quote I liked. If someone bought and paid for a device, they should be able to use it, at least on their own property, if it doesn't hurt anyone else. I'm only pushing this story because it won't happen to anyone else. Regardless of the race, religion, beliefs, if you paid for something, if someone paid for it, they should own it. So he's pushing the story out that way. I thought this was pretty eye-opening. Like, this is crazy. Something happens at your property, your Amazon account gets suspended because of a misunderstanding, and you have no access to any of your smart home devices. Wow. That's bad. That's really bad. Gavin, you're an Amazon guy. What do you think about this?
The only part that I didn't like was they cut it off without consulting him first. Like
right.
They didn't give him a call, get his side of the story, because he pointed on his article that they kept saying his Ring camera. He didn't have a Ring camera, right? He wasn't even home at the time. There's so many things, but nobody ever called him to say, "Hey, we have a complaint. We want to get your side of the story." Blah blah blah. No, they just went ahead and cut it off. And that's the only part that really, got to me. But I think because the story blew up, I think they will be more careful about doing this.
Yeah, and I think we can all agree that, racism is bad and people shouldn't be racist because that's not good for anybody involved. But I feel like you probably shouldn't have your online presence revoked because you possibly said something racist as well. Like, that's a whole lot of damage for, in this case, a misunderstanding. And if this was a misunderstanding, how many times have they done that before? Or they've just banned somebody for hearing something or thinking they've heard something or whatever. I could understand maybe banning Amazon deliveries or something, we're not going to send people to your house anymore. But the whole, it's like getting your Google account, disabled or something because of a misunderstanding, or it's just such an important thing on the online world nowadays that it's hard to believe that this is a real thing.
Yeah. And I guess having it all so closely and integrated together, I could see this happening, right? I could understand it. And like you said, just banning Amazon deliveries, that would probably be more potentially more problematic. I think it was. He kind of said hey, it was Memorial Day weekend. I was, really wanting to order some stuff and I couldn't even log into my account, couldn't get anybody to respond. So yeah, that might have been the better way of doing it, but instead of just an all out account disabling, to where all of the stuff that he had purchased from Amazon. And he goes on to say, look, this wasn't it sounds like Amazon wasn't the only way that he was controlling his house. And he was like, I just couldn't use Alexa to do stuff with. I have everything else. He said, I just use Siri or locally hosted dashboard, probably Home Assistant, to do other stuff. But it was just kind of like an overreaction. Well, not really an overreaction. I could see a consequence happening. If this truly did happen, like TJ, what you're saying, I could see there being a consequence. Maybe it's the driver doesn't have to go to this house anymore, or maybe this guy doesn't get fast deliveries anymore. Or maybe his Prime membership gets revoked or whatever. That would be good. Disabling products that he purchased, I think that's what really stepped over the line to me.
Yeah, it's a little weird, It's not anything that anybody should have to go through. So it's just, I don't know. And it's not like it was a physical thing. There's different levels to all this stuff, obviously. But it was some words said over a video doorbell.
Right.
Not that bad in the grand scheme of what happens in America. So.
Right. All right. Well, if we've learned anything here, it's don't be racist and leave water bottles out for your Amazon delivery drives because it's really hot right now. Looking at you, Texas.
Yeah.
It's really hot out there. These water rakes are illegal.
I always try to offer them whenever I see the delivery drivers because I always have a mini fridge or something in the shop. So I know it sucks, especially when you have to stop at the gas station or something to get cold water. It just takes so much more time out of your day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, in our segment "Who Matters" this week, we've got the Eco Matter, we've got the EcoFlow Matter Compliant Smart Plug. Comes with real-time energy consumption and tracking. This thing is hitting in Europe first, probably. Not sure if it's coming over here. Yeah, I guess it is. They've got the European version of it online here, but hey, congratulations to you, EcoFlow Smart Plug. You've made it. You matter this week. Congratulations.
Woo! It looks like a nice device. It's got some silver color to it and everything. It looks bulky from the picture though, but like the picture of the lady sitting on the floor messing with her laundry for some reason.
Well, that's those European plugs.
But other than that, it doesn't look like a giant bulky device though, so that's nice.
34 pounds in EU countries, or 36 euros over in the Netherlands and Germany. Congratulations to your warranty. Pretty good.
I like the wording on this though. It says matter compliant. So I wonder, what does that mean? If matter compliant, like,
no, come on, no, Gavin, Matter is good. It works with Apple. It says here it works with Apple, Amazon, Google, or Samsung and other smart home systems. So we're
matter
happy.
Compliant.
We're happy they have Matter. That's what matters. Okay.
Okay.
We don't have anything else, Gavin.
Do you get all the features with Matter with this?
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about
okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
What are features in Matter, Gavin? Could you even name a feature in Matter?
Power monitoring.
That's not a feature of Matter, sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
So now this is Matter compliant. I get it.
So yes, you do get all the features that matter. It wasn't that difficult.
It can turn on and turn off, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, but it does come with the energy monitoring. So hopefully they'll do that one day. I mean, I can't imagine they won't, unless there's no more matter that matters anymore. But yeah, there you go. A new smart plug for our friends.
One that we can't buy yet.
For our friends in the UK. All right, all the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/440. All right, we got a pick of the week this week. I don't really know how to describe this. DJ, you and I were at the show. This is probably the quirkiest booth I think they had there. It's called Froggy's, Froggy's Smoke or something like that? It's basically people that make smoke machines. Not only do they make smoke machines, they make flavored smoke. And boy, do they have some flavors. There's the ones you would think of immediately. And by think of immediately, I would, you'd have to be like someone in junior high, because yes, farts are in there. Stinky cheese is there. Garlic is there. What else you got, TJ? You got another one in here?
Well, you got rotting decay. You have haunted house. Pumpkin spice. I mean, everybody loves pumpkin spice and slaughterhouse next to each other.
It kind of goes together. Yeah. Mothballs. We've got popcorn, vanilla, urine. I mean, they're all over the place. And not only did they like have these labeled, you could take them out of the thing and smell the I guess the extract or whatever that they put into these smoke things to verify if you were actually smelling the fart smell next to the pine tree, or peppermint, or mothball, mildew, stinky cheese. I mean, there's so many here. I did like barbecue. Barbecue is there.
What does Gothic smell like?
Gothic? Maybe it smells like a Hot Topic store at the mall. I don't know.
Yeah, I should have smelled Gothic while I was there. I was pretty lame, and I smelled the apple pie and coffee. So,
rainforest,
hospital, electric chair.
Well, we know what that smells like. Ugh. Whiskey, zombie. Which I don't know how zombie would smell anything different than rotting decay, but maybe it does.
Yeah, wouldn't that be basically the same thing?
Yeah. And how does raw sewage compare to the fart poop smell? I don't know, but maybe somebody did. If you did smell these at Infocomm, if you did stop by Froggy's and smell this stuff, man, I feel sorry for you, first of all, but let us know what you thought about it. Because
well, I did, so.
What did you smell?
I smelled apple pie and coffee, and the apple pie it smelled like a very artificial apple pie.
Lame, DJ. Come on.
I wasn't trying to like throw up in the middle of the floor, so yeah, I wanted to compare it to something I know what it smells like, and honestly, I'm not a serial killer, so I don't know what rotting flesh or slaughterhouse or hospital tastes like or smell like. I definitely didn't taste it. I can tell you that.
Pick up and take a shot of one of these. Ooh, sulfur volcano. Let me take a shot of that. Swampy Marsh. That was basically the smell of Florida. If you walked outside, you smelled Swampy Marsh. So Gavin, are there any scents here that interest you?
No, nothing surprising. If you take the TTC in Toronto, you've experienced a lot of these, so it wouldn't be anything surprising.
But if you saw some smoke and you walked into it and you're like, oh man, that smells like barbecue. Somebody must be having a barbecue around here, and really it's just a smoke machine that's going off. That'd be disappointing, I think.
You'd be very upset.
I think they were trying to do something like this with like not home theaters but theaters where they wanted to add smell to the movies too. So maybe this is just a step.
This is a step above the Burger King smell-o-vision of yesteryear. So
yeah, well, it was definitely a fun booth to kind of stop by. They also had a fog gun, which was like a gun that shot fog. I think it was like,
oh, that was the best.
It was like $5,000 too. Like it was insanely priced. But if you wanted to shoot fog at people with a gun, they had it. America. Anyway, you could shoot whiskey fog out of a gun. How American is, I mean, come on. You can't get any more American than that.
Beer fog out of a gun.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, just have little cartridges. You run out, put another one in. Here comes the mildew. All right. It was a fun show. There's a lot of stuff there. Big TVs and all that good stuff. TJ
287-inch TVs and transparent displays, and
yeah, those were neat. The transparent ones. I have there's a short video online. Somebody are me hiding behind one and then peeking out and waving, but you could still see me. That was kind of the joke. You could still see me through the TV, I guess. But LG had some that were really nice looking. That basically were the walls of their booth, and it wrapped all the way around, and you could kind of see what was going on in there. It's kind of cool. It was a cool experience.
Well, and that's the first time I felt like I was not in a convention too, because they had bouncers. You could only go into a certain way, and then you had to follow the room in a certain way, and then you had to leave a certain way. It was like, I've never experienced that at a trade show. So
yeah, it's like a museum or something. It's wild.
Yeah, they wanted you to see everything. Don't come in here just to see one thing. You're going to see everything.
Don't wander through our booth and walk on our carpet. Anyway, it was a cool show. We're going back next year. It's in Vegas. So yay, that'll be something. But yeah, if you haven't been to Infocomm and it's around in your area, meaning Las Vegas or Orlando, it's worth going to maybe once. If you're in the commercial space, or in the like show production or anything like that, it's a smaller show than like NAB or something, but it's definitely worth your time. There's plenty of stuff there to see. Just packed 29,000 people. All right. Well, if you had any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the weeks, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right. Projects. Guys, before we left, I know we talked about it on the show, but I did receive this thing. The Aquara Smart Lock U100 came in pretty quickly, and I'm like, I could put that in, or I could pack for this show. And I kind of had to decide to do worky work stuff and pack for the show. So it's still sitting here.
Boo.
That's my project. I'll get to it eventually.
We still got you to spend the money, though.
That's right.
It's past you can't return it now.
Got to come up with a price per show database.
Oh yeah, it has a button on it, right?
No, I'm just saying a price per show database now, so that way we know how much money we get people to spend. You know, if you buy something through the show, you got to let us know so we can add it to the graph.
Well, I'm gonna have to add like what $15 to this one because I'm gonna have to buy the domain for that now. Yeah, Gavin, you've got a bunch of updates. I was at a show, so I really didn't do anything. But Gavin, you got a bunch of updates. What's going on over there at your place?
Oh no, just I'm always playing around with something. I see someone's idea or ask a question. I'm like, what can I do? Someone was talking about doggy doors. It's like you have your doggy door. How can you tell if your dog's going in or out the door? Right? Can you get a notification for it? So I was playing around with that. I tried like using the Show Me tilt sensor, so I could tell when he's going out and going in. But the only problem with that is it doesn't respond fast enough. Right. So by the time it actually responded, the door flap stopped moving. So it never really registered. So I was like, that was no good. So I just used like a vibration sensor to know that he's going. It doesn't tell me which way he's going, but it tells me he's going out, right? Because I usually just leave that back door open and I just leave the screen door and he walks through that. And at least I know he's outside or he's coming in, he's doing something out there. I could check the camera. So if you're looking to do something like that, just throw a little vibration sensor on there or throw a little contact sensor. Good little idea, just so you know your dog's going in and out. And one thing I grabbed was an ESP2. I don't know why I've been so curious about these ESP2 little microchips and what you could do with them, right? But I grabbed an ESP32C3, I think this is. This thing's tiny. It's like the size of my thumb. And I want to use it with ESP Home on Home Assistant. And this will be my first ESP project. So it's going to take me a while. But I bought a pressure sensor with it, a water pressure sensor. And I'm going to be using this to monitor the pressure of my pool filter. So I want to see if I can get that, play, and it'll give me a nice need for an ESP project to work on. So that's going to take a little time and see where that goes.
So the goal there is to detect like if it needs to be cleaned out or pulled out and washed. Yeah. Okay, cool.
If you have to do a backwash or something like that, I don't have to look down at it. I could just get a notification, hey, time to clean out the filter. So I'm going to play with it. It's just a project. It could be my gateway project. Who knows? I get addicted and, just spawns a whole bunch of other things, and the lawn watering update. I know this is a big topic. I just, we're now getting into some warmer weather now. My lawn's looking green. The EcoWit sensors are working beautifully, so I'm able to keep my lawn at certain, moisture. But the best part is I only have to water the section that needs the water. Because I have different parts of the lawn where some are in shaded areas, some are not, and I can adjust it that way. And I've just been doing it manually. Like I get a notification, hey, the front lawn is now at this percentage. You might want to water it. I press a button and it schedules it for the next morning, right? And I found that I actually am saving a lot more water than when I just had it like the whole lawn, or it would just look for rain or something like that.
Really?
It's actually, I've been watering less, but getting like more use out of my water, if that makes sense, right? So when it drops below a certain, I only have to water that area. I don't have to water the whole front, like where Rachio would be like, we'll just water the whole front and back and everything, right?
Right.
No, I just do it like that. And if rain's coming, like the rain will, after it's rained, sometimes you get rain and you don't realize that it really wasn't enough to water your lawn. So now this is telling me like, oh, it did rain, but you only got this much moisture in your lawn. You still want to water it a little bit more. So I can water it for an extra 10 minutes or so and bring it up. And it's been working really well. I'm really happy. EcoWit sensors. So my only gripe about them is they stick out of the ground. So I've had 2 fatalities. One was me by accident. It's funny because I'm looking at the thing. I know it's there. I'm saying don't step on it, and then I stepped on it and it snapped. Right. The second fatality was my lawn guy came to weed to spray the weed killer on it, and within 5 minutes he came around to the front door knocking with the broken piece in his hand, saying "Oops." And I'm like, yeah, there's 6 more out there. Just be careful. I understand. So I'm glad I bought extras. On them.
How could you miss them?
I taped over the blinking red lights because I didn't want them at night, blinking in my lawn, right? So, yeah, I warned him about the others, and he was like, okay, he kept an eye out for them. So I've had 2 fatalities. I'm still keeping my eye open if there's other products out there that sit flat. I found one, but it's not released yet. But I will be looking for that.
You made me buy a couple of these soil sensors, Gavin. I haven't been able to put them in yet, but the lawn at the new house is not that great. There's a lot of bare spots in it and everything, so I want to get that nice and filled in. And I think I'm going to install an irrigation system. But until I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get these soil sensors installed and hopefully improve that quite a bit. I'll have to take some progress pictures too.
Oh, TJ, when you're ready for that, we can walk you through what installing an irrigation system. I could give you a YouTube channel. There's this guy, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's all about lawns. He'll break down the lawns for you. He'll get you kind of like looking at your lawn differently. So, it's an expensive hobby.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I just want my lawn to be filled in. I don't care about like how the majority of other things, but there's just a lot of bare spots right now. I want to get it fixed. So
we'll get it fixed up. We'll have a whole show dedicated to your lawn.
Let's spend that money.
Gotta spend some money. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, speaking of spending money, I'm sure TJ's been spending money because he's moving into a new place. But at the show, I don't know if you know about these shows. Like, there's a lot of like these, Chinese people that come in and they have these really like bare bones booths and they have all their products set up and everything. And then sometimes they're like, we don't want to drag this thing back to China, so we're just going to sell it on a show discount. And one of them just happened to be the booth behind us. And I'd never seen that they had any electronics. It was mostly screens. And I had gone over and talked to them a little bit because like the screens that you would pull, like on the tripods that you pull up for like a slideshow or a projector or something like that, those or pull down like you hang on the wall. It's the same mechanism and everything. And so they were behind us and talked to them a few times during the show. But they at the end of the show, they wheeled this TV over from another booth somewhere, and it was on a stand. There was just this TV sitting there, and they were writing on it, like out of one of those little digitizer pins, and they could write on the thing, and they kept putting prices on, like, this is for sale, show special. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's show special time. I'll go around and see if there's anything. But this thing caught my eye because it was on a stand. I was like, I've been looking for a stand for a TV, in my garage. So I can put a TV on a stand, just wheel it out of the way when I didn't want to use it. Cause I like things on the wheels. And I was like, that stand is perfect. And I didn't really pay much attention to the TV. And the price was like, I don't know, like $1,000. And then like it came down to $600. And then they were like, they had scratched it out. And then like they were going to sell a stand for 400 or something, the TV for another whatever. And somebody was going to buy it. They figured out they couldn't fit it in their car. And I was like, I'll take the whole thing for $500. And boom, I got it. $500 cash only deal. I couldn't write them couldn't give them a card. They would not take a card. But I got this big TV behind me. And turns out it's a touchscreen that runs Android. So and we found out before the show, as we were installing random apps onto Android, you can run Home Assistant on this thing, the Home Assistant app. And now I've got the biggest Home Assistant dashboard in the world, 65 inches in 4K, baby. There we go, right there. You like my graphs?
As far as I know, you got the biggest Home Assistant dashboard I have ever seen. People are wall mounting their tablets, for control. You have a stand for yours. This is amazing. And it's a workout just watching you use it.
I know.
Nobody likes to, pull out their phone anymore. Everybody's kind of leaving their phone behind. You're leaving it charged or something like that. Just imagine pulling this behind you. Every room you go to, you want to adjust something, you just pull out the 65-inch TV and you just start using it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just wheel it around the house. It's on wheels, nice wheels. And I can, I mean, it is, you guys were laughing at me when I was typing on the keyboard that pops up on the bottom of this thing. I mean, you're just like, you're walking back and forth in front of the TV screen trying to tap from one side to the other to type a password in. But I did get it done. I've got Home Assistant on here. I don't know if there's any Home Assistant updates. It looks like there are, so I'm going to go check.
You might as well do updates while you're here.
Yeah, it's driving me nuts right now because I could see the icon. Yeah. Let's do this update live right now. You got to click on it at the top.
I got two of them. There's a restart required from last week, a repair. I got to do that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my mosquito broker in my terminal shush is broken. So
Gotta go and get that updated.
We'll hit that. We'll wait for an install.
Oh, that's good. You're gonna have to wait for it to restart, I think.
It's done. And now there's a core and an operating system. Which one should I do first?
Oh, the operating system.
All right. Oh yeah, 3 days ago, 10.3. We'll install it. So I'll let that go in the background. I think that takes a while, but
yeah, that requires a reboot too.
Yep, connection lost. It popped up in the corner. I don't know if you can see it because it's way over there, but connection lost. So it'll come back online. And I don't know. There is an update for Home Assistant proper in here. I'm not sure what's in it. Gavin, maybe you know.
It's just security updates, package updates, stuff like that, right? Like nothing major. By the time the show probably gets out, I think we're on our next beta anyway. So speaking of updates, we forgot to mention Unraid has an update. Unraid released their final 6.12.0 and like they're trying to keep up with Home Assistant. So the same week they released 6.12.1, with security updates. So go check out what's new. I think the major new feature was ZFS, which has a lot of hype around it. I looked at it, and when you read a lot of articles, it said for my use case, it's not needed because it's a little more resource hungry. I think it needs more memory and stuff.
Gavin, not only is there 6.1.3 or 11.3, there's 0.4 and 0.5 now.
No, we're on 6.12.
6.12.
You're looking at 6. Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at old release notes.
Behind.
Yeah, I'm way behind.
You're behind. Nope, we're on 6.12.1.
All right. I'll
Seth never does updates or reboots, so of course he wouldn't actually know.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I scheduled a change ticket for this weekend with the family, and they were going out of the house, so I used that moment to do an upgrade. And good thing I planned it, because after it upgraded, my Home Assistant wasn't booting up for some reason, so I had to fix that. And it took a little time, but for the most part, it was smooth. It was my own custom hack that broke. I can't blame it.
Can't blame anybody but yourself. Like, I'm trying to remember how to to update these things. Is it in settings?
It's under settings or tools.
Maybe it's under tools.
And then you'll see upgrade assistant.
Yep, there it is.
Yep.
I guess it wants to run a test on me.
Yeah, we'll just check if you have any incompatible plugins or anything like that.
Yep, I have issues. I have community plugins and unassigned devices, so I've got to update everything, I guess, first.
Well, I could have told you had issues, but you don't need Home Assistant or Unread to tell you that.
I'm gonna do this later because this is complicated.
Yeah.
I've got my Home Assistant update to do.
We're just updating everything live this week. Like, it's insane.
There we go. Home Assistant 6.2, 2023 6.2. I have to really turn around to see this because it's on the other side of the TV.
You have to install like TeamViewer or something so you can just remote into it.
Yeah, I can't read it. It's way over there. It's funny. Yeah, no, it basically takes up the full frame of the camera that that I have on me. It's usually I have like a green screen up there, but I don't have to do that anymore. I've been just playing like big videos from YouTube, like these background scenes, and it's like looks good. I don't have to have a green screen anymore. I don't have to worry about that.
More expensive green screen.
Well, not really. I mean, not as much as like you can pay for a green screen. That's for sure. My green screen never really worked that well. I was gonna buy like one of those, like the software ones don't really work that well. But actually, Blackmagic has the ATEM minis. The ATEM minis that have a pretty good chroma key built into them. So I was gonna get one of those, but now I don't have to. I can just use this as whatever I want. I can put whatever. I can have apps up here and I can draw on it if I want. It's crazy. All right, there we go. All done. Let's get back to my charts.
I'm surprised every time you upgrade, it goes smooth.
There's nothing in there.
I know.
It's my 3 charts here. All my data points that I got to chart out. So there we go. All right. TJ, you got anything you're working on? You're working on packing boxes.
Yeah, I'm just surrounded by boxes this week. We're actually moving houses tomorrow morning. So I am packing. That's all I'm doing. You start out, I don't know about you guys, but I started out packing, you kind of put stuff into similar boxes and bags. Like, the clothes go in this box, the dishes go in this box. And now we're kind of the phase where everything just gets thrown into random boxes. And you're just, this is a box of stuff. This is where it is.
You can label it. You can be like, you can just label multiple things on the box, or just put like, this goes to kitchen. And then when you get it, just put it in the kitchen. And then when you get there, you'll open a box, the mystery box in the kitchen.
But why is this box in the kitchen? This is for the bedroom. What the heck?
Somebody labeled it wrong.
That's pretty much what we're doing. I'm just putting because we're having movers actually come and move everything. And so I have the room that's on there, and then I have like just a short description of what's in there. And so that way, as we're looking for stuff over the next couple of weeks, I can find a box and be like, it's probably in this box.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you. Moving's never
the phase of not caring.
Yeah, exactly. Well, moving's never fun, but having a new house is. So congratulations. We're all excited for you. We're getting ready to spend some money. But because we're going to get you that irrigation system.
I've already been spending a lot of money, so I'll just add some more onto that, I guess.
I mean, your lot is just.
I was looking at robot lawnmowers earlier, so that's going to cost a lot of money.
Let's do it.
I mean, how you define a lot and how I define a lot is 2 different things, especially when it's not my money. So
it's never a lot when it's somebody else's money.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, we're excited for you. Glad you're finally moving in and able to start making the house your own and, doing all the fun house project things that you get to do when you own a house. So looking forward to talking to you more about that as we move forward into the future. But I think that is going to wrap it up here for this week on Home Tech. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support Home Tech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day for all sorts of fun conversations about all aspects of home technology. If you want to help out, support the show, but can't support financially, totally understand. We just appreciate a good review on iTunes. 5 stars is what we're looking for, or a positive rating in whatever podcast app that you listen in. That's going to wrap up here another week of Home Tech News. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time.